Okay, Perich of Gimel, let us weiter continue with the sugya that we're holding in. Two specific things that we're going to mention as Akdama to this Perich is, number one, if everything physical in this world, which is something that we've been explaining over the last few days and the last few prokim, is all echad, it's all one with the Rabbeinu Shalom, so what about Torah mitzvahs? Is that tzimtzum by Torah mitzvahs? Because there's tzimtzum by everything else. Tzimtzum is this diminishment, goes like sort of gets diluted more and more and more till it gets to the physical world, which is why we see this table. Otherwise we wouldn't see it without the diminishment, without the tzimtzum. So the question is, Torah mitzvahs, how does it work over there? That's question number one. Also, this parak specifically is going to be talking about how a person can become himself a platform for Elokus, and when he does that mitzvah, and specifically Torah. So let's have a look. Ve'im kol anal, with all of the things that we have previously explained, Yuva, now we can understand. V'yavoya heitiv, but toisefes be'er masha'omu bezoya, this versteht in Zoya Kodesh, do'i reisa v'kutsha brichu hu kuloi chad. Before it's a song, but it's also a Zoya Kodesh. When the Zoya Kodesh tells us that the Torah and the Rabbeinu Shalom is one. What does that mean? What does it mean the Torah and the Rabbeinu Shalom is one? Listen to this. O batikunim, perish again, this is right to the Zoya. The Ramach Pikudim Inun Ramach Eivorim Demalka. So it sounds like the 248 commandments, the mitzvahs of the Torah, are really the 248, can we say this, but we're only going to say this because the Zoya does, Eivorim, limbs of the Melech, of Hashem. The Zoya Kodesh is telling us that the mitzvah is really a chelik of Hashem. It's an organ, it's a limb of the Rabbeinu Shalom. It's a pure expression of the Rabbeinu Shalom in that case. Now, Lefisha mitzvah hem penimius rotzen ha'elyon v'cheftzoi ha'amiti ha'melubash b'chol ha'ilomos ha'elyonim v'tachtoinim l'achayosam. That at the end of the day, the mitzvahs are really the inner rotzen, the inner will of the Rabbeinu Shalom. If you want to know what does Hashem want, it would be great to know, what does Hashem want from me? Answer is, look at the mitzvahs. Because the mitzvah is a pure expression of what the Rabbeinu Shalom wants. And it's been melubash, it's been clothed in all of the ilamas to give them energy. That means the Rabbeinu Shalom created the world and gave them energy so that we would do mitzvahs in that case. Okay? And on a deeper level, the Ratzon of Hashem is dressed in the world to give energy, but the penimius of the Ratzon is in the actual mitzvahs, right? So for example, sometimes you have a person that wants something, but his Ratzon isn't in the thing that he wants itself. It's just a side thing. I'll explain. For example, let's say a person in business, okay? His kavanah is to make money. That's his kavanah, that's what he wants. He wants to make money. So what does he do? He opens up a store and he sells pizza, for example. His rotzen is not in the pizza. His rotzen is in the money that he makes from the pizza. But he wants the pizza to exist because that's the echadins of him making the money. You understand? So the rotzen is in the end result. That's what's going on over here. So what we're saying over here is the Rabbeinu Shalom's rotzen is dressed in the world. But the penimius, the real rotzen, is in our doing of the mitzvahs. So when you do a mitzvah, when you put on tefillin, when you put on tzitzis, when you make a bracha, whatever mitzvah that you do, you're not just doing a mitzvah. You're fulfilling the Ratzon Hashem. You're doing what the Rabbeinu Shalom wants in this world. Okay? Now, Kikol Chayusom the Shifom Toli B'Maisa Mitzvahs Shatachtonim Kenoida. The entire Chiyus depends on the Maisa Mitzvah that's done down over here, us. The Nimsa Shemaisa Mitzvahs V'Kiyuman Ulevush HaPnimi LePnimis Ratzon Elyon. At the end of the day, an action of a mitzvah is being Mekayim, it's fulfilling the inner levush, the inner real rotzen of the Rabbeinu Shalom. It comes out that the Rabbeinu Shalom created the world as a means to an end, meaning in order to do mitzvahs. Right? And that's the chiyas, that's the energy of all the worlds. And all the energy of the upper worlds depend on what we do in the Maisa in this world. We can really, you can really see a lot of like the Chabad in Yonim, of just get the oinim to do mitzvahs. Because if you do mitzvahs, everything up in Shemayim changes, and you're Mekayim Ratzon Hashem. You do understand, you don't understand, it makes difference to you. Who cares? You're doing a mitzvah, you're Mekayim Ratzon Hashem. It's amazing. So why were they called? It's going back to what he said in the beginning. Why were they called the limbs? Eivorim de Malka. V'lachein nikun Evrei de Malka, again, it's a Lashon HaZoya Kodesh, Derech Mashal. For example, K'moi she'evrei guf Adam. Heim levush lenavsho, yubetelim legabli lebe kol v'kol. Just like the limbs of a human being are bottle to you, meaning, Ki miyad she'oyle b'tzoyne sh'ladon livsho yad ragloi. Hey nishmois b'tzoyne take of a yad, b'lishum tziva v'amiu lehem, b'lishum sh'yeh klal. If you want to lift up your right hand, is there anything inside you telling you, I don't think you should do that? No. You lift up your right hand because you want to lift up your right hand. So that means your right hand and your left hand and your right leg and your left leg are bottle to your ratzon. You understand? The moment you want to lift up your right arm, just like your organs are a reflection of your emotions, of your soul, of your thought process of what's going on. Because when I lift up my right hand, you now know that in my brain I wanted to lift up my right hand. And it just worked. So the Rebbeinu Shem created, again, this is all emotion, of course, that the mitzvahs are like the limbs of Hashem. So when you do that, you're tapping into something very, very great. Okay? Now, B'chein, halavush achitzon shel nefesh alikis. The levush, the outer levush of the nefesh alekis of a regular person that's mekayim and does a mitzvah. Shu koyach ubechinas ha'maisa shela, hu mislabesh b'chayu shel maisa mitzvah. If you remember, we learned all the way back in Perek Dalet that the nefesh alekis actually has three garments. It has machshava, dibur, maisa, thought, speech, and action. The garment of action is absorbed in the mitzvah, and if it's absorbed in the mitzvah, it's absorbed in the Ratzon Hashem, which is Hashem. So it comes out that what goes on is that you become absorbed in Hashem, okay, in a certain sense. You become bottled to it. Even the Evorim, with your right hand you give tzedakah. So your Eva, your guf, that's Mekayim, that mitzvah, whichever one it is, becomes dressed in the Maisa mitzvah, the Kim of the mitzvah, becomes a Merkava. Merkava is like a chariot, becomes like a wagon, but in better words, it's a chariot to the Ratzon of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Kugoin, Hayad, HaMechalekas Tzedakah Laniyim, the hand that gives out tzedakah to Aniyim. Right, famous example, because I've the Tanya holds that's one of the greatest things that a person could do in our generation, more than anything else, is tzedakah. Sa mitzvah acheres, or any other mitzvah. Or v'raglaim, your feet, amahalchas of mitzvah. Your feet are going to be smedrish, your feet are going to do bikocholim, whatever it may be. V'chein hapeh, your mouth is about to say a bracha, your mouth is about to bench, your mouth is about to compliment someone. V'loshon shebadaven divei teire. V'amoyach shemahar b'divei teire v'yiras shemayim v'gdulas Hashem baruch hu. This is pshat in the Medrash. Ha'avos hein hamerkava. The Medrash tells us that the avos were the merkava. Okay, I'll explain that in a minute. Shekol evreim kulam hoyu kadoshim. That every ava of our avos were fully, completely kadosh and separate mi'inyone olam hazeh, from this world. And everything they did was simply a merkava, a chariot for the Ratzon Elyon their entire lifetime. Now, note the difference of what he's saying is the difference of merkava, vehicle, by the others and by us. Okay? When we do a mitzvah, when our right hand gives tzedakah, when our mouth speaks Torah, whatever it may be, so that limb becomes the vehicle to do the Ratzon Hashem. By the others, the Medrash says, Hein a merkava. They're whole mitzias. They are a merkava. Because everything by them is completely bottled to the Rebbeinu Shalom, to Das Elyon. So it's a completely different mahalach. Should we continue? I'll go a little bit more maybe. You know what? Maybe tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem. Okay, tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem, we're going to continue with Siyat Shmaya and finish off this perek. Shkoyach.